Why do you let fear paralyze you?
And what you allow to come in your mind controls your fucking heart. Get up! A man's word right now doesn't mean shit. Imagine if you just have that in your life. You have the truth and you have honor. That everything that comes out of your fucking mouth, you do it. That you do the shit that you said you're gonna do.
Welcome back to the Warrior Week podcast. I am Coach Max. This is our coach, Coach Sam. How are you doing today?
Hey, how you doing, man?
Very good. I'm actually excited about this conversation today because it is the enemy of fear. And I know a lot of men that find fear inside them and paralyzes the shit out of them, whether it's in business, whether it's in confronting their wife, whether it's fucking, even coming to God. There's always some type of fear of judgment. And, really, I want to kind of get into why a man has fear and why does it fucking paralyze him so much.
Very, very good. Very good topic, man. I mean, why does a man have fear? Because I mean, there is no answer to that. It just is. There is no denial of fear. There is no trying to take fear and put it under the carpet or put it in the closet so we don't see it for a while. It doesn't exist. Fear is present and it's there every moment, every second, every hour, every 6 hours, every 24 hours, every day, every week, every month, every year, every decade, every century. You name it, man. Fear is there as long as you allow it to be there. And fear exists as long as you cooperate with it. Fear vanishes every second, every moment, every hour, every 6 hour, every 24 hour, every day, every week, every month, every year, every decade, as long as you don't cooperate with it. So why does fear exist? Because it exists, period. It exists. Who are we to say that fear should not exist? God wanted fear to exist, and that's why fear exists. But also at the same time, we are told in the Bible 365 times in one way or another, do not fear. It's a full circle. Mm-hmm. It's a big walk around this topic, which arrives at the same point where it started, which is fear not. And so you might as well think that it was actually important that God mentioned it 365 times. But more importantly, it's not that it wasn't important. You see often God mentioned words in the Bible once or twice and, 3 times, there's an emphasis on it. This one is he knows that we keep forgetting. He knows that it's a battle from seconds to decades to centuries with it. And so the idea of fear can literally be broken down to so many other concepts. And truly, why does it exist, to answer your question, is just because.
Just because. Well, I really like how you made a really good point about you entertain it. When you entertain it flourishes. And when you don't fear it and you actually give it to God and you fear not because he'll handle it, it kind of gives you a little peace.
Yeah.
Well,
in order to understand, fear, one of the simplest way we can break down fear, it's by the letters that it has, right? And it's simple. We can look at fear is false. Fear is something that comes from the enemy. So F for false, E for enemy. Fear is an attack on our certainty and our confidence. So it's an attack. And the letter R is a rape. Fear will rape your mind. When you have fear, is literally your mind is being raped. So imagine somebody raping someone. That is exactly what fear is doing to your mind and to your thoughts in that moment as you entertain it. So, I mean, think about it, man. Do you want to be raped? Fuck no. Right? And when you are under a rape situation, why are you allowing the rape to continue? I mean, it's pretty graphic when you think about it, but that's what it is. It's a rape. It's an attack. It comes from an adversary. It comes from an enemy. There is no good in it. It is there to kill. It is there to hurt. It is there to terminate. It has that purpose. It is not there for you to learn a lesson. It is not there for you to go through a trial or tribulation. It has no intention but to kill, because it comes from the enemy, and it is false. It is not true.
Yeah, it is one of those one fucking feelings that you need to either move forward or backwards. It's like the fucking cartoon with the anvil falling. When you feel that fear, you have to fucking move.
100%.
That paralyzation is what fucking keeps you.
And that's exactly what it is. It's a feeling. It's not a fact.
Yes.
You just said it. It's a feeling. And guess what? We are a human emotional machine that constantly evaluates the feeling of fear.
And it rapes you.
It's a rape.
It's the same idea of that like circle that you're talking about. When you entertain it, you actually come back to it, and then you're in this loop, this fear loop that again doesn't allow you to do anything with it.
So we can all raise our hand as men, and we can say we all have been a victim of fear. Yeah. We all have been a rape victim. Fear has raped our mind, all of us, and continues to rape our mind as long as we continue to entertain it. And we have a battle with this. There is no man that will die not fearing unless he truly puts 100% of his trust in God all the time. But we also know that we're told by God so that we pray and ask for help us with our unbelief. Yeah. That means no matter how much we believe, we need help.
Yeah, the unbelief will come. It's like the story of the kid that has the seizures or whatever. He's his spirit, and he asked Christ. The father asked Christ, like, "Hey, can you help him?" And he says, "Yes, if you're a believer." And he's like, "Well, help me with the unbelief,
right?
Because take that shit out of me to make my kid okay,
right?"
And that is the reality of our lifespan, right? There's no matter how much we dive into the word, no matter how much we actually hold true to it, there will always be a moment of doubt. There's a moment of unbelief, which in turn is what you're saying about fear. It's the fear creeping in.
And I want to have a very different conversation about fear.
Yes.
Because in the marketplace, in the human library, this subject has been studied in details, and there are experts on fear. There is psychological breakdown of fear. There is so many books on fear, and there is good information, and there's a lot of data on fear. But here is the basis of this conversation. Zero fucks are given about any other work that has been done on fear. The only thing that matters right now is this conversation. And that conversation brings it down to one reality for you as a man. Fear is raping your mind. So when you feel fear, it is like a big giant dick raping your tight fucking asshole. I don't know how else this could be less graphic, but maybe I'll make it even more graphic. Lubricant even is, you're getting dry fucked rape with fear. So if we have that scenario, that becomes something like, no, I don't want that, right? And how is it that both you and I will walk in a situation and we would allow our mind to do that?
Oh, with hands up. Suddenly it's like, oh yeah, take me. I'm not going to fight.
Well, here it is, right? Here it is for you, me, and everybody else. What's your biggest fear? You get the tough guy that would say, I have no fear. Oh, fuck you, right? Yeah, fuck you. And then you get the super vulnerable guy that goes hour and lists everything. Relax, there's not a demon behind every bush. Relax, bro. and so what is your biggest fear? Let's just be honest, between you and I and everybody else listening right now. Our biggest fear is to lose our family.
Yes, my biggest fear is
to lose my family. Yeah. So there you are. There you are. Help me with my unbelief. In that moment, fear is raping us. And it's just this natural emotion. Like it's our nature. It is our nature to subscribe to fear. However, the word of God and the confidence of God and finding security in God and only in what it says continuously teaches us to put that trust in him. And over time, the Holy Spirit will make us fear less and less and less and less and less and less. And I don't know if it's age. I don't know what the mechanics are. I really don't know. What I know is that we are all at work.
Constantly. And the other big fear that I know a lot of men have is financial.
Oh yeah.
Right. They immediately have this weird connection to money. And suddenly when that starts to dissipate, they panic more, and the fear just starts fucking raping them more and more, instead of just giving money away. Like, imagine when you give it to somebody that's poor, immediately you start asking questions. Or if you give it to the church, well, how are they going to use this? Who the fuck how they use it? Just fucking give the money away. Give the money away. I'm more of the classic kind of put it in the box guy, or the canasto. I don't do the online thing. Yeah. But and hand,
let me feel it, man.
Yeah, I gotta give hand cash. I don't put my name on it. I don't do none of that bullshit. But I do let it go. I do let it go. And even inside here, this conversation, sometimes my mind immediately goes back to fearing, oh man, I might need that someday.
Yeah.
I might not need
Well, I'm the first guy that say like fear of money will get me. Yeah. You know, you look at the bank account, you look at a client that is backing away, a client that is putting in, or a business that is collapsing, or a business, or the marketplace. Fuck, let's talk about prime. Let's talk about the sudden interest rate that went up in fucking March, and now that affects everything. It affects the loans that you have, which is, you know, variable with prime. Like, oh shit, now like, so it's there for every single man. It's there. And even for the billionaire is there. It's the fear of losing its money. It's not a fear of not having, right? The game gets reversed once you have it. You know, once you have a lot of it, then then you're in constant fear of losing it, and you turn into a fucking lunatic. Next thing you know, you act as poor as the guy that doesn't have it because you're in your scarcity. It's a loop that gets you in. I don't give a fuck if you're a billionaire or you're a poor guy. Fear exists around money. And it's just at the different level that it's going to rape your mind. It is going to rape your mind. It is raping my mind. It is raping your mind. Fear. And the other thing is your wife and your family. And this comes out to the original conversation we had about men are always hunting two things, and they always have fear of losing two things: money and pussy.
Period.
And because of lack of it, they'll attack their neighbors. And because they have more, they become greedy.
Yeah, they lock it all down.
Lock it down, bro.
They hold it, and they don't provide for others, or
lock it down.
And I'm not saying, hey, you know, I'm to get rid of the whole socialist idea right now, but this concept of knowing when to help somebody else, right, and being okay with that instead of holding on to it just because you're fearful of a later.
100%. And let's make it very clear, right? If we're talking about pussy and money, you don't need to help anybody else with pussy. You don't need to offer your wife to anybody else. So like understand the clarity on that. But you can give a lot of your time, effort, energy, your family value, your marriage principle. You can give a lot of that to people that need it, to your neighbors. You can also give a lot of the financial support and help when you have it to those that don't have it. Those you can.
Yeah, that's true generational help, right? That's true, like generational wealth. That's how you pass it on.
100%.
Because once you die, they say on Earth you die twice, right? Once when you die, and once when no one else says your name. So how the fuck? How long?
Hey, by the way, that time I've noticed the gap is short. It's not that long. No. You know, you die, and if everything is about the guy dying. Social media, this and that. Couple of months later, man. Yeah, adios. Adios.
Fade quick.
You fade into the.
You fade quick. People just pull that, and that's fear in itself, right? Like, fuck, what does it look like for me to actually move this thing forward and know that, hey, there's going to be more of what I'm teaching to somebody else, more than me providing money or owning a giant fucking business. It's really about what can I pass on as value.
100%. What can you live in someone, rather than for someone? Well, you can't leave your name for someone because that's your name. So if 3 months from now nobody talks to you, then suck it up, right? Because you died. That would be the same case for me. Good. It's a good thing, right? But you can leave in someone certain principle, certain lessons, certain structure, a way of thinking that you can leave. You can leave this conviction to the pursuit of God, right? And that could be an exemplary action and a path for someone for the rest of life. In fact, that is the best thing that you can, the best thing you can leave in someone is they knew that everywhere you would go, you would preach the gospel, you would bring the good news because you wanted them to know about the good news, about the fact that where you're going, that they can go too, right? And you did everything to inform them. They'll remember that, and if God gives them that gift, they'll know you for the work that you've done, so they can continue doing that work from that example. But whatever you leave for someone, it's a matter of time because it'll come to depletion, right? You leave money for someone, it'll be gone soon. Yeah. Even if it's not gone soon, your name on it is soon. The fact that you left it is gone. Now it's my money. I built this motherfucker. Yeah. Well, what do you mean, bro? Your grandfather gave you. No, I built this motherfucker. Yeah, he helped me, but I built it. I took it to the next level. So the pride kicks in, man.
Right away. And for a man in his journey to remove that fear becomes work.
Yep.
Becomes work inside of what you're saying, of passing it on, talking about the good news, learning more about the good news, like sitting inside there and removing that fear. There's again a reason why it was spoken so heavily inside of the word.
100%. And what fear does, that fear is the raper. Remember, right? Yep. So fear will make pride its slave. So it will take your pride and my pride, and it will control it. It will send it. It will make it do things, and pride will feed fear. Pride will come in and do all these things, and then take it, bring the lunch, and give it to fear. So fear is fed.
And when fear is fed, it just grows. It perpetuates. It doesn't get less. It becomes more and more. I just think of a man that just can't get unstuck. He's just fucked so bad. And in the reality of it, even inside of like today, if this is resonating with you because you're like, oh, fuck, they're talking about some heavy shit. They're talking about raping and all this other fucking things about fear. You're right. Fuck you. Because really, we're here to talk about what we think and what we know and what we've seen. And yet a lot of people struggle with it. They're fearful of what they say because what other people think of them.
100%. And we're saying here, hey, man, we have been raped in the mind.
Yes,
we continuously to battle with getting raped in the mind. We are in the midst of the trial and tribulation with you. So fuck you. You can't be sitting back and allowing your pride to keep bringing lunch to your fears. So the fear gets better and control more pride. The more pride you are, the more scarier you are. This is true. You've seen that in many men. The more they're proud of their shit, the more they're proud of their shit, the more they're smaller inside. Because ultimately, pride becomes the biggest enemy against God. Pride is the number one source of the enemy to get you and I and into a battle with God. And ultimately, when pride is crushed, there's nothing. Fear not means fuck your pride. That's what it means 365 times. If you say to your pride, go fuck itself, and you're dust, you're nothing, then you are subscribing to this wind. You put all your trust in this wind that is going to blow you away and take you to places where it wants you. And how wonderful that journey is if you are just surrendering to the fact that you're dust. Now, this doesn't mean that you're a piece of shit. I said dust. This doesn't mean that you're worth nothing. I said dust. This means that your pride is not heavy. Because when you're heavy, hey man, ain't no wind's gonna move you. Because ain't no wind wanna move you. You gotta be light. They say the gate of heaven is so low that if you come in all tall and all strong and all pride, well, you won't get in, man. You got to be so low that you almost like shimmy slide under there, man. Or you get blown away so small as dust. We came into this world as dust and we go into heaven as dust. So it's something to consider, man. That pride is a bitch.
Yeah, almost like the idea of, when you're prideful, you think of yourself a lot. Well, it's not about not thinking of yourself. It's just thinking about yourself less. So you still got to think about yourself, but you got to think of yourself less than normal.
Very important. Very important. Normal. You and I are made in the image of God. There is a mandate to dominate. There is a dominion mandate. There is some work to be done. You can't just be, I'm dust and I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to sit here. That is not it. It is dust in your mind. It is dust in the ability to take your pride and make that heavy. We have capability and ability to feed our pride. And when we feed our pride, he will actually take all that food and give it to the fear. And fear grows.
Man, I can't think of enough of just as simple as that is to look at yourself, look at your pride. And then when you're being prideful, put yourself in check, and immediately that will put your fear in check. And then you don't let it really grow. And learning how to step into that, right? Like being able to step into, okay, removing myself from this. Okay, I know I'm scared of this. And then knowing that I'm scared of it. Because another thing you said was that, you know, if you say you're not fearful, fuck you, you're lying. Correct. Which is our code here is don't fucking lie. Tell yourself the truth. The biggest lie is the lie to yourself. Everybody lies to themselves continuously. To tell other people a lie, that gets easy to stop doing. But to tell yourself a fucking lie is really hard to stop doing.
Very hard. You know, one of the tactical ways to pretty much say fuck you to fear and like, you know, battle with it in a very is just subscribe. And if you truly know that you believe in that, then that becomes your refuge. And it's this line that it says in Psalm 93, I believe it's the Lord reigns, right? The Lord reigns, meaning that the sovereignty of God is at control here. So you may be walking in this situation and maybe the worst situation. It doesn't mean that you won't cry. It doesn't mean that you won't have anxiety. It doesn't mean that you'll get on your knees. It doesn't mean that you won't have massive amount of pain. But in that space, if you keep telling yourself that the Lord reigns, there is that assurance that comes. But if you don't believe in that, it'll do nothing for you. Yes. But if you do believe, if you're a believer and you do believe and you remind yourself that the sovereignty of God is God's favorite doctrine, it would be mine too. But if the sovereignty of God is where he reigns, everything is under his control. Every single molecule, atom in our body, every single bird, every single plane that is flying right now, every single planet that is turning around another planet, every single tree and every single animal that is interacting in this moment, it is all controlled under the sovereignty of God. Both the macro and the micro are being managed at the same time, including this audio going through this device and coming to you through your phone, and all that, and what is coming out of my mouth, all that is under God's sovereignty. And if you subscribe to that, and you look at the current pain that you're facing and the current situation that you're going, my friend, you will find refuge that you will not find in the world of anxiety that you've created for yourself with all these fucking questions which you don't have answer to. What's the point? What's the point? You know, there's a good comparison here that we can make. Okay, and I think you don't like this one. What's the main difference between a knife than fear?
I don't know.
Well, at least the knife points at something.
I do like that one. I do fucking like that one.
And all our anxiety points at what?
It's fucking nothing.
Nothing, bro.
Nothing. Yeah. Just self-made anxiety. And so I'm gonna use that as an action item today, Coach. I really like that chew on that the Lord reigns. And if you could find yourself in a moment of anxiety, you find yourself in a moment of fear, you find yourself starting to collapse inside that circle and about to get fucking raped, find yourself in a moment of chewing on the Lord reigns. The Lord reigns. Find that solace. If you don't believe, it's okay. Just okay. Just find yourself chewing on that for a little bit. You might feel a little peace. Beautiful. If you guys really enjoyed our conversation, check us out at warriorweek.com, warriorweeknow.com, and then follow us on IG and on Facebook and subscribe. Coach, thank you. Beautiful talk.
You know, you may not enjoy that conversation. That's the whole point, right? We're not here to entertain and bring joy to you. And I hope that you enjoyed it in terms of resonance with your soul. This is not an easy conversation that Max and I have. I mean, we're fucked in the middle of this conversations ourselves as much as you are. This is not us going on the stage or on a platform and pointing the finger at you and saying, you, literally, this is us. And inside of that conversation, we just happen to have a lot more rep at this game of stop fucking lying and telling the truth.
Amen. Absolutely. Thank you, Coach.
All right. Thank you.
Have a great day.
Quit on your wife, quit on your kids, quit on your desires. It's okay to be okay. Manually putting the fucking blindfold on yourself. Tonight, you're gonna find out what power is.